Today marks 1 year since the start of the Russian-Ukraine war.
And the future of the battle remains unclear, but a year later, there's a lot to reflect on.
So we spoke with a professor who has ties to both sides. Take a look. Only on ABC 57 News, we spoke with Dr. Elvira Kislova, a professor of marketing at Dominican University in River Forest, Illinois. Dr. Kislova came on our newscast 1 day after Russia first launched its full-scale invasion in Ukraine.
She joins us as we mark 1 year of the war. Dr. Kislova, we appreciate you coming back on.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Well, now, days ago, we heard Russian President Vladimir Putin's speech. He accused Ukraine of starting the war. You grew up in the former Soviet Union. What can you tell us about the way Putin uses misinformation?
I can tell you that it's very similar as it was in the Soviet Union with Brezhnev and all these old-style leaders that were telling basically nonsense. And I would not seriously consider his speech because this is something that he is doing for this like internal consumption for people in Russia who need a certain message because they actually now they don't understand the sense of the war. Most of them don't.
And a year ago, you told us that you have friends and family in Ukraine and even mentioned some were staying to fight. At this point, a year later, do you know where they're at now and have some left the country or just chosen to stay?
Well, there are my friends who left the country and live in Europe. There are lots of friends who stayed, and some of them temporarily moved to the more safer Ukrainian cities, but now they are back to their hometowns. I have a couple of friends who are in Ukrainian army now. Thanks God they are alive. And also, of course, we lost a lot of people during the past year, and now it comes closer. Like some of my friends lost their close others, and it's very sad and painful.
Well, the U.S. has accused Russia of war crimes, and a year ago, you described Russian military operations as, quote, completely rejecting human rights. So when we look at what happened in places like Bucha, is that the Russian playbook that you sort of warned of a year ago?
Yes, actually, I checked this on the official Ukrainian website, and so far, as for now, Russia has committed over 64,000 war crimes, basically ignoring, every war has its own rule, and Russia is ignoring all these war rules, attacking civilians with no reason and killing innocent people, raping people, killing children. So this is just terrible.
And Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has said Ukraine won't surrender. So really, how do you think this war ends?
Well, I don't think we have another option. We have to win. If we don't win this war, and we are already winning this war in terms of the technology we use, in terms of the support we get from the whole world, if we don't win this war, we will leave this to our children, to our grandchildren, and this war will last forever. We know that we have a very tough history of Russian occupation of Ukraine and tensions between Russia and Ukraine. So if we don't win it right now, we will not have a future as a country.
Now, Dr. Kislova, that is sadly all the time we have. Thank you again for joining us and for all the information you provided.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be right back with more news right after the break.